Hey guys, Nick here. Today, we're getting into a big episode because if you guys could not have already told, we are about to dive in to Negan's introduction to Rick and his group because we've already pretty much been introduced to him already. Thanks to Shane becoming part of the Saviors and gaining Simon's place as second in command. But how will today go in this episode with Rick and the lineup? This is part 14 to this awesome remake of What If Rick Spared Shane. Side note, something that I think I should mention before we really get into the big stuff. Heath is going to find out about Oceanside like he did in my What If Lori Survived, because without Tara being an influence, Heath is my really best guess as to who would find out, because he was on the trip too. Anyway, we're getting into the big stuff today. I'm sorry if I'm sounding repetitive, but we most certainly are. We get into where we left off last time with Simon and all of the Saviors cornering Rick and his group at every turn, and eventually meeting Negan himself. But Shane isn't out. Not just yet. That Negan wanted to save for a surprise. But for now, he's going to go with his way of doing this, which is going to be the main way of doing this, because, he only thinks about himself, really, Negan. But we're getting sidetracked. Negan introduces himself to Rick and the group much like he does before, giving his big speech about how his people killed his people and yada yada yada, and basically saying to the group that their stuff is his now and that they work for him. Pretty much giving the whole speech thing that he did before, except I feel that it would be twisted more so in a way because, like Season 10's flashback of Negan introducing Michonne before he was about to hit someone in the head with his bat, this time, right when he's done with the speech, this time, he says before he kills one of them, he wants all of them to see one particular face before any one of them die. And he calls out to Shane. Shane opens the door to Negan's RV, pushes it open so that bunches of suspense are built into his reintroduction to the group, because Shane especially wanted to make this special in kind of a dark, twisted way. Now, once Shane reveals himself, there's, of course, mixed emotions, because on one hand, sure, it's nice to see him again, but on another, it's really like he joined this guy of all people, the guy who sent a bunch of men to come and kill everybody, take their stuff at Alexandria, the guy who orchestrated the people that got Axel killed at the satellite outpost. Rick especially is not particularly happy this time. While whenever Shane was kicked from the group the first time, he wanted to give him another chance, this time, all he wants to do is just rush at him and just kill him. But they kind of can't. They have no weapons on them, and bunches and bunches of Saviors, including Shane, with weapons trained on them. Plus the fact Negan's there. And he's got the bat, he's the big man, they really can't do anything. And Negan knew that this would upset even Rick, but he said, he wanted Shane to be the first face they saw, well, one of the last faces any of them saw before he picked his victim. Which, of course, is going to be Abraham. Because out of the whole group, I feel that Abraham would still be chosen here. Because he, in the original and just completely in all my stories, which I've glanced over, Abraham kinda wanted to be the one to lay down his life. You saw how he looked at Negan. That's why Negan picked him in the first place. which in turn, him taunting Rosita, Daryl punches Negan, stupid decision, and yeah, Negan's about to kill someone else. Now, Shane's having a little bit of second thoughts. Now, why is he having second thoughts now? Well, he hasn't really seen Negan up close and personal, doing his thing. He didn't know what Negan fully meant by teaching Rick and the group a lesson, but now he's kind of starting to see, and that nice part of him, the side that worked with Rick and his people for so long, the side that wanted to be given a second chance, that side of Shane's starting to resurface a little. It's kind of like Shane's battling his demons at this point in the story, to whether he wants to be a bad guy or truly help Rick and his people. And he doesn't have time to glance over this because Negan's next victim is Glenn, like before. And this, of course, results in Maggie and everybody else being sad, Maggie especially, and Negan just making fun of Glenn while he's dying. And now it is more sure than ever to Shane that he picked the wrong side. Because with Abraham, it was different. Because Abraham had basically just come with Rosita and Eugene to get the supposed cure for the world. Because Eugene, they thought he had the cure and everything else. Those three were different. But with Glenn, they had been together since the start. Shane had known Glenn since they all had the small group back in Atlanta. And to see him just mercilessly killed by this guy who he himself joined, it really just dove into Shane's heart. It really affected him more. Morgan, like I've discussed before, that when he's in the lineup, tries his hand, and he doesn't have the stick on him, but he tries to attack. But, as we know, Negan kinda don't like that. And he's just getting ready to kill a third person. Preferably, maybe Morgan. Because he didn't kill Daryl, but with Morgan, he's kinda tempted to just kill anyone who attacks at this point. But then, Shane steps up. And this surprises everybody at this point. Well, kinda. Anyway, Shane steps up and says that if Rick and his people haven't learned by this point, maybe they need someone from their old group or one of their friends to do the deed and actually set them straight. Meaning, Shane says that he wants to be the one to kill the next person and decide. Negan honestly kind of didn't expect this, and actually really is intrigued and impressed with Shane. He had been impressed enough and everything to see how Shane dealt with Simon, but at this point, he's viewing him better than any other savior. And this is kind of like a what if Lizzie was left behind by Carol situation with like Lizzie and Alpha, in a way. So, with that said, Negan allows it. And Shane gets his favorite shotgun out and steps up to the group, saying his piece much like Michonne did with everybody whenever we saw the flashback of her in the Season 10 original. Except it's way different now. Shane steps up to the group with his favorite shotgun and gets ready to decide who he himself is going to kill. And it is very suspenseful at this point, because now it's not someone strange, like a stranger, that's just going around killing the friends. It's someone from their own group. Shane especially. This hits everybody hard, and the tension is even worse than it was with Negan, especially to Rick, who looks at Shane with a mix of fear, sadness, hope, and anger, hoping that Shane will change his mind or do something to not make this happen. But Shane isn't reciprocating the emotions that Rick's feeling, and all you see in his eyes are malice. And he gets his gun ready, and gets ready to fire the shot. Boom! The screen fades to black. And who was shot is very, very surprising. Everybody in the group, I'm talking Saviors and Rick and his people, every single person is surprised and just bewildered at who Shane shot. Who did he shoot? And why does this affect everybody and not just Rick's people? Well, this awesome cliffhanger is where we're going to end this part, folks. Yep, I'm doing one of those again. A awesome cliffhanger, which is definitely going to make you guys feel very intrigued for the next episode. But anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this part and are enjoying What If Rick Spared Shane, the remake as a whole. Hope that you guys are looking forward to the next part, and leave your thoughts on who Shane might have shot. See you guys next time.